Our body is designed to protect us. Every second of every day, an invisible war rages inside you. Billions of microscopic soldiers patrol the corridors of your bloodstream, searching for invaders, viruses, bacteria, anything that doesn't belong. These are your guardians, your immune system, the most sophisticated defense network in the known universe, built from nothing but chemistry and evolution. And for most of us, most of the time, this system is perfect, until it isn't. But what happens when your protectors can't tell the difference between enemy and self? What happens when the body's greatest defense becomes its greatest threat? This is a story about that moment, about a girl named Soha, and about the invisible betrayal that lives inside all of us. Before we understand what went wrong, we need to understand what's supposed to go right. Your immune system is a miracle. Right now, inside you, there are more immune cells than there are stars in the Milky Way. Each one is programmed with a single purpose: protect the whole. They talk to each other. They remember. They learn. When you get sick with the flu, your body doesn't just fight it off. It creates a memory. Your immune cells sketch a wanted poster of that virus and pin it to the walls of your lymph nodes. If that same virus ever returns, even decades later, your body will recognize it instantly. The response will be faster, stronger, more precise. This is why you only get chickenpox once, why vaccines work, why your body is constantly learning from every cut, every cold, every microscopic battle you never even notice. Your immune system is not just a defense mechanism, it's a library, a university, a living archive of every threat you've ever faced, written in the language of proteins and antibodies. At the heart of this system are cells with extraordinary abilities. T cells that can identify infected cells and mark them for destruction. B cells that manufacture antibodies, each one a precision weapon designed to lock onto a specific target. Macrophages that patrol your tissues like security guards, engulfing anything suspicious. Natural killer cells that destroy compromised cells before they can become dangerous. And the coordination is breathtaking. When a threat is detected, chemical signals flash through your body like emergency broadcasts. Immune cells rush to the site. The temperature rises to make your body inhospitable to invaders. Blood vessels dilate to deliver more reinforcements. This is inflammation, the controlled fire your body sets to burn out infection. But here's the thing about fire: it has to know when to stop. Your immune system walks a razor's edge every single day. Too weak, and infections will kill you. Too strong, and you'll destroy yourself. To prevent this, your body has safeguards, checkpoints, regulatory cells that calm the response once the threat is neutralized, mechanisms that teach developing immune cells the difference between self and foreign. Before an immune cell is ever allowed to patrol your body, it goes through training in your thymus and bone marrow. Young immune cells are shown samples of your own tissues. If they react to self, if they show any sign of attacking what they're meant to protect, they're eliminated. 98% of developing T cells fail this test. They're destroyed before they can cause harm. This is how your body learns not to attack itself. This is the treaty your immune system makes with the rest of you. I will defend you from everything out there, but I will never harm what is you. It's a system that evolved over millions of years, a masterpiece of biological engineering. And like all systems built on such complexity, it carries the seeds of its own failure. Because sometimes, rarely, something goes wrong. A cell escapes the screening. A regulatory mechanism breaks down. The lines blur between self and foreign. The guardians forget who they're supposed to protect. And when that happens, when your immune system turns against you, there's a word for it: autoimmunity, the body at war with itself. Soha was 15 years old when her body began to betray her, though no one knew it yet. She was bright, cheerful, full of that particular energy that teenage girls carry, where the whole world feels like it's opening up before them. Her mother Neha watched her with the quiet joy that mothers feel when their children are healthy and happy, and exactly where they're supposed to be. Life was normal, beautifully, wonderfully normal. School days and friend drama and silly arguments about phone time. The ordinary magic of a childhood that's going exactly as it should. Then came the small things, the kind of things that don't alarm you at first because they're so common, so explainable. Fatigue that didn't quite make sense. Soha would come home from school and collapse into bed, exhausted in a way that sleep never quite fixed. Neha thought maybe it was exam stress, growing pains, the chaos of being 16. Then the nosebleeds started. Random and sudden, blood appeared without warning or obvious cause. Strange, but not terrifying. Not yet. Mouth ulcers followed, painful sores that wouldn't quite heal. Her hair began to fall out in small patches. Anemia showed up in a routine blood test, her red blood cell count dropping for no clear reason. Each symptom alone was mundane. Together they were trying to tell a story, but it was a story written in a language no one had learned to read yet. The human body doesn't come with warning lights. It speaks in metaphors and whispers, and sometimes, by the time you understand what it's trying to say, it's already too late. Then dengue fever arrived like a storm. In some parts of the world, dengue is called breakbone fever because of the pain it causes. Your joints feel like they're shattering from the inside. Your muscles scream. Fever spikes so high that the world becomes a blur of heat and delirium. For most people, dengue is brutal but survivable. The body fights, suffers, and eventually recovers. But Soha's body was already fighting a war she didn't know about. Her immune system was already confused, already turning inward. Dengue didn't just challenge her defenses, it broke them open completely. She survived the dengue, barely, but in the aftermath, something worse began. Her organs started failing, one after another, like dominoes falling in slow motion. Her liver began to struggle, unable to process toxins. Her kidneys stopped filtering blood properly. Her lungs filled with fluid, each breath becoming work. Her brain swelled with inflammation, causing confusion and headaches that felt like her skull was cracking open. Her heart, exhausted from trying to pump blood through a body that was destroying itself, began to falter. The doctors worked frantically, medications to reduce inflammation, dialysis to do the work her kidneys couldn't, a ventilator to breathe for her when her lungs gave up. She spent a month in the hospital, moving in and out of the ICU like someone drowning who keeps breaking the surface just long enough to gasp for air before going under again. And through it all, Soha fought. That's the thing people don't tell you about dying. Sometimes the person isn't ready to go. Sometimes they fight with everything they have, even when their body has nothing left to give. She endured pain that would have broken most adults. She survived crises that should have killed her multiple times. She held on with a willpower that astounded the doctors and shattered her mother's heart, because Neha could see her daughter fighting so hard against something that couldn't be beaten. After a month, Soha's body simply couldn't continue. There was no dramatic final moment, no last words like in movies, just a girl who had fought as hard as biology would allow, and a body that had finally exhausted every reserve, every possibility, every last spark of life. She died not knowing why, not understanding what had been killing her. It was only later, when doctors reviewed everything, when they looked at all the symptoms and all the tests and all the ways her body had failed, that they found the pattern. The answer had been there all along, hidden in her blood. Autoantibodies. Her immune system had been creating antibodies against her own tissues, against her kidneys, her heart, her brain, her DNA itself. Her body had been attacking itself for months, maybe years, with increasing ferocity. The diagnosis came after death. Systemic lupus erythematosus, SLE, lupus. Let me tell you what lupus is, because understanding it is understanding something profound about the fragility of life itself. Lupus is an autoimmune disease where your immune system loses the ability to distinguish between foreign invaders and your own tissues. It's as if your body's security system suddenly decides that you are the threat. The antibodies that should be protecting you start attacking your cells instead. Any part of you can become a target. Your skin, your joints, your kidneys, your heart, your lungs, your brain. The name comes from Latin, meaning wolf, because the facial rash it sometimes causes was thought to resemble wolf bites. But the disease is far stranger and more insidious than its name suggests. In lupus, your B cells start producing what we call autoantibodies. These are antibodies specifically designed to attack your own proteins, your own DNA. They circulate through your bloodstream like assassins carrying photographs of you, hunting for targets that look like self because they are self. When these autoantibodies find their targets, they bind to them. This triggers inflammation. Your immune system sees the antibody-marked tissue and thinks there's an infection. More immune cells rush in. They release chemicals called cytokines. signaling molecules that turn up the intensity of the immune response. The area becomes hot, swollen, and painful. Tissue begins to die, not from disease, but from friendly fire. In the kidneys, this causes nephritis. The delicate filtering structures become clogged with immune complexes, scar tissue builds up, and the kidneys slowly lose their ability to clean your blood. Toxins accumulate. Waste products that should be eliminated stay in your bloodstream, poisoning you from within. In the heart, inflammation damages the lining and the valves. The heart muscle itself can be attacked, weakening with each beat. In the lungs, fluid builds up around the tissues, making every breath painful and incomplete. In the brain, inflammation causes confusion, seizures, mood changes, and sometimes strokes. What makes lupus so devastating is that it's systemic. The betrayal isn't localized, it's everywhere at once. Your entire body becomes a battlefield. And what makes it so hard to diagnose is that it mimics everything else. The early symptoms look like ordinary illness. Fatigue could be anything. Joint pain could be growing pains or overexertion. A rash could be an allergy. Fever could be a cold. By the time the pattern becomes clear, by the time all the symptoms add up to something unmistakable, the disease has often already caused serious damage. Doctors test for something called empty nuclear antibodies, NAs, which are antibodies that attack the nucleus of your own cells. In lupus patients, these are almost always present. But here's the cruel part. You can have positive ANA tests for years before lupus fully manifests. Your body can be preparing for war long before the first battle begins. We don't fully understand why lupus happens. There's a genetic component, certain genes that make you more susceptible. There are environmental triggers, infections like Epstein-Barr virus, or even sunlight that can activate the disease in someone predisposed to it. Hormones play a role, which is why lupus affects women 9 times more often than men, and why it often emerges during adolescence or young adulthood when hormone levels are surging. But at its core, lupus is a failure of self-recognition. It's what happens when the mechanisms that are supposed to prevent autoimmunity break down, when those developing immune cells aren't properly screened, when regulatory T cells that should calm the immune response stop working, when the body forgets the most fundamental rule, do not attack yourself. And once that forgetting begins, it's almost impossible to reverse. We can suppress the immune system with medications. We can reduce inflammation. We can manage symptoms, but we can't retrain the immune system to recognize self again. We can't undo the betrayal. Current treatments include corticosteroids to reduce inflammation, immunosuppressants to dampen the immune response, and newer biological drugs that target specific parts of the immune system. Some patients live normal lifespans with careful management. Others, like Soha, face catastrophic organ failure despite all intervention. The research continues. Scientists are exploring personalized medicine approaches, looking at each patient's specific genetic profile and immune dysfunction. They're studying why some people's lupus affects mainly their skin, while others experience devastating multi-organ failure. They're trying to find ways to reset the immune system, to teach it the difference between self and foreign all over again. But for now, lupus remains one of those diseases that reminds us how little control we truly have over the bodies we inhabit. Here's what haunts me about Soha's story, and about autoimmune disease in general. There was no external villain, no virus to blame, no bacteria that invaded from outside, no toxin or trauma or accident. Soha died because her body killed itself. The very system designed to keep her alive turned inward and destroyed her, cell by cell, organ by organ. And the cruelest irony, that betrayal came from love. Your immune system attacks autoimmune targets with the same ferocity it would use against a deadly infection. It's not being lazy or malicious. It thinks it's saving you. Those cells destroying Soha's kidneys genuinely believed they were protecting her from a threat. They were working exactly as they were designed to work, just aimed at the wrong target. This is the paradox at the heart of autoimmunity. The same complexity that makes your immune system brilliant, that allows it to recognize millions of different pathogens and adapt to new threats, also makes it vulnerable to confusion. The more sophisticated a system, the more ways it can fail. If your immune system was simple, if it only had a few basic responses, you would die from the first serious infection you encountered. But because it's complex enough to handle anything, because it can learn and remember and coordinate responses across billions of cells. It's also complex enough to make catastrophic mistakes. This is true of so many things in biology. The same mutation that can cause cancer can also drive evolution. The same inflammation that fights infection can also damage healthy tissue. The same emotions that allow us to love make us vulnerable to heartbreak. Life is built on systems that are powerful precisely because they're risky. We like to think of our bodies as machines we pilot, as things we control, but we don't control them. You don't decide when your heart beats. You don't choose which proteins your cells manufacture. You don't command your immune system to attack or stand down. These things happen autonomously, governed by chemical signals and genetic instructions that unfold without your conscious input. You are not separate from your body. You are your body, and when your body betrays you, when it turns against itself, you're betrayed by yourself. There's no one else to blame, no enemy to fight, just chemistry going wrong in ways that feel impossible and unfair, because they are impossible and unfair. Neha lost her daughter to a disease that had no cause anyone could point to, no moment where something went wrong that could have been prevented. Soha didn't get lupus because she did something wrong, or because Neha failed as a mother. She got it because biology is random and merciless, and sometimes the same processes that create life also destroy it. And yet in the midst of that horror, there was something beautiful. Soha fought, not because fighting would save her, but because fighting was what she chose to do with the time she had. She endured unbearable pain with courage. She held on through crisis after crisis, giving her mother a few more days, a few more moments, a few more chances to say I love you. The body may have betrayed her, but her spirit never did. And that's the thing about humans. We are biological machines. Yes, subject to all the failures and randomness of chemistry, but we're also something more. We make choices even when biology gives us nothing to work with. We love even when loving means suffering. We fight even when fighting is futile, because the fight itself has meaning. Neha still carries Soha with her, not in her bones or her blood or her DNA, but in her memory, in her heart, in the shape that Soha's life carved into the world. Biology failed, love didn't. And maybe that's the answer to the question we started with. What happens when your protectors can't tell the difference between enemy and self? You suffer, you fight, sometimes you lose, but the people who love you remember you fought. And that memory, that love, that persists, even when the body fades. That's the thing that transcends biology. Your immune system will fail you eventually. Something will go wrong, some cell will mutate, some mechanisms will break down. This is the cost of being alive in a body made of chemistry. Entropy always wins in the end. But the meaning you create, the love you give and receive, the courage you show in the face of impossible odds, those things echo beyond your biology. Soha's body turned against her, but her story, told by her mother, shared with the world, teaches us something profound about what it means to be human. We are fragile, we are temporary, we are built on systems that can fail in ways we cannot control or prevent. And knowing that, we love anyway, we fight anyway, we find meaning anyway. Because if our own cells can turn against us, if life itself is this precarious, then every moment of health is a miracle. Every day without pain is a gift. Every person we love is precious, precisely because we know how easily it could all fall apart. Soha lived 16 years. In those years, she was loved completely. She laughed and learned and experienced the strange beauty of being alive. And when her body failed her, she faced it with a strength that reminds us that human will is real, even when biology tells us it shouldn't matter. This is dedicated to Soha, whose strength and spirit remind us that love endures even when the body fades. And to all the people fighting autoimmune diseases right now, whose bodies are at war with themselves, who wake up every day and choose to keep going even though their own cells have betrayed them. You are not your disease. You are not the malfunction of your immune system. You are the person who fights it. You are the courage it takes to endure. You are the love that persists despite the pain. We are made of the same cells that heal and harm, remember and forget. Understanding them is how we understand ourselves, and understanding ourselves, fully and honestly, with all our fragility and impermanence, is how we learn what truly matters. The body is temporary, love is not. That's the lesson written in every cell, in every immune response, in every autoimmune betrayal. That's what Soha's story teaches us. That's what we carry forward.